Hi, I'm DK analyst Geoff Ulrich, and this is the lineup review for Week 8 of the NFL season. So the Millionaire Maker winner this week was a fellow by the name of Gval Style. He won using a couple different game stacks, and he really benefited from some high-scoring games, some really good offensive performances by a few different players. He just targeted a few specific situations, which was really smart this week. So the first game stack that he used, it was New Orleans and the New York Giants. Everyone knows about this game. Complete back and forth, 52-49. No defense played in this game. Gval Style used Drew Brees, Ben Watson, and Odell Beckham from this game. These were three of the highest scoring players on DraftKings this week. He targeted two defenses that were giving up a lot of points. Both were a little bit banged up, especially the New York Giants. Their pass D has been horrific the past couple weeks. They're without Prince Mukamara. This was a great spot to use Drew Brees at home. Ben Watson has been trending up in targets and at 3,500 at tight end. He was a great choice. I really liked targeting this game. The people who did so did well this week, and it just shows you again that if you're going to go heavy on one game and you just use players from that game, it can really benefit, because when a game goes this high scoring, it essentially means that every player from that game is going to be viable for fantasy. It's a real benefit for tournaments when you are on these players. Now, obviously, it's hard to target them every week, but for a big tournament, it's a great idea to just stack a game and go with the best players from that game. So that's what he did there with the New York Giants and the New Orleans Saints. The other strategy he used, or the other sort of game stack he used, was targeting the Rams on offense, which I really liked. He didn't just use Todd Gurley. He used TAVON Austin. So the Rams offense, if you've sort of been watching them the past couple of weeks, Gurley and Austin are really their two main players. Yes, they've been running Todd Gurley like 30 times a game. They've also been using TAVON Austin a lot on end arounds, on quick screens, and even on deep balls. So the 49ers are a really weak team right now. They're falling apart. Colin Kaepernick just got benched. It's okay to use a wide receiver and a running back from the same team if the team you're targeting is really weak on defense, and if you think those two players are going to gain the most usage. So another good example is, from Atlanta, Devontae Freeman and Julio Jones. They're sort of the main two targets on their offense. Gurley and Austin, the same idea in St. Louis right now. They're getting targeted a ton and basically, consist of their entire team's offense. So I really like the fact that he targeted both those players. I thought TAVON Austin was a really sneaky tournament play this week. The other strategy thing I'd like to point out from the Millionaire Makers lineup this week, he took advantage of some injuries. So Leonard Hankerson being out, Joseph Randle was out, and the Giants D had some injuries. So in Hankerson, with Julio Jones and in Atlanta, because Hankerson was out, Julio Jones was getting even more targets this week. So he was already up to the low teens, but this week he just got even more. He was basically their entire offense. There was no one else to throw to really on Atlanta. So again, when a player is out like that, it just benefits his teammates. So in Dallas, Joseph Randle being out just meant more touches for McFadden. He was only 3,800 on DraftKings this week. He was a great volume play. Dallas had no other options. They had to use McFadden a lot. So that was a really smart thing too. And then obviously with the Giants D, we've already talked about, with Prince Mukamara being out, it just bumped up all the Saints receivers. So really pays to watch the injury report. Make sure you look at both sides of the ball as well. Like a cornerback being out can really help an offense's chances of having a big passing day, and a receiver or a running back being out can really help upgrade their teammates' fantasy projections as well. So make sure you keep an eye on injury reports. It's really important. Switching over quickly, let's take a quick look at the perfect lineup this week. So this was the highest scoring possible lineup you could create on DraftKings, which is really interesting. It's always good to look at that and see what we can learn. Again, this lineup features Drew Brees and Odell Beckham. So again, a bit of a game stack with the Saints and the Giants. That was a theme this week. But it didn't just feature Ben Watson. It also featured Marcus Colston. So not only one target, but actually two receiving targets from the same team and with the same quarterback. We've seen this strategy done before. We've seen people win with Peyton Manning and Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. And I think it's important to keep in mind, in these big tournaments, you can still win by targeting more than one pass catching target. So, when these games get really high scoring, when a guy like Drew Brees has a big week, you can win with more than one receiving target. And I think it's important to keep in mind, don't be afraid to use more than one receiver in a big tournament with the same quarterback. So also took advantage of injuries here. We see Jacob Tamme had a big game. He was actually a great value play. He again benefited from Leonard Hankerson being out though. So again, it pays really to keep to keep on top of the injury reports for a given week. So last thing I'll just note here, the Texans D, that was a really smart, interesting play this week too. The Millionaire Maker winner used the Texans D as well. It's never a bad idea. Even bad teams' defenses can have big days. So in this case, the Texans were at home. I really like targeting defenses at home. They were against a pretty subpar quarterback in Zach Mettenberger. You don't need to limit yourself on defenses to just the elite teams. Keep an open mind. The Texans had a great matchup this week. Any team's defense can step up for 1 week. So my name's Geoff Ulrich, guys. You can find me on Twitter as @TheFantasyGrind. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to DKTV. We're always posting weekly strategy videos like this. We'll be back next week with another lineup review. And make sure you also check out the Monday Night Sweat Show every week on DKTV. Always have the potential Millie Maker winners on as the game is going on. It's great entertainment. Good luck in week 9, and we'll talk to you guys next week.